Warm welcome to you and welcome to everyone. Just in terms of the format, it's pretty straightforward. We have we'll begin with a meditation for about 20 minutes or so. Then Emily will lead us in some gentle movement, and then we'll have the talk for today. I think it'll be a combination of talk and meditation, and it's on the practice of gratitude. Some of you may have a gratitude practice, but it's one of the most powerful practices in among the kind of Buddhist and in other traditions as well. The research, the scientific research on gratitude shows, the tremendous benefits, and I'll just touch on that a little bit when we talk. And then hopefully we'll have some time for some sharing at the end. So warm welcome to everyone, and just invite you to come into a posture that's comfortable and relaxed. So sitting with your back straight, you might invite your shoulders to relax. Let your hands rest in your lap or on your knees or on your thighs, wherever they're comfortable. If you'd like to, you can let your eyes gently close, let the attention come inward. Or if you prefer to keep your eyes open, just have a soft, unfocused gaze looking ahead of you a few feet. Just feeling the body, letting the attention come down into the body. And as much as you can, putting aside cares about the future, thoughts about the past, and just put them to one side. And just maybe have the intention of being as fully present, as fully here as you can be for this time we're together, this time of practice. And it can be helpful to take a few longer, deeper breaths. Just taking a nice full, deep in-breath. Filling the lungs, filling the chest. And then releasing, letting go, long, slow out-breath. Just letting the breath help you settle into being here. Breathing in, calming the body. And breathing out, calming the mind. You might, if you like, invite a smile or a half smile to your face. That's enough to activate the muscles around the eyes and around the mouth. Maybe thinking of someone or something that makes you feel happy or joyful, grateful. Smile is a way of gladdening the mind. The Buddha talked about gladdening the mind, just bringing some joy and happiness into the mind and the heart. And maybe taking a few moments to reflect on gratitude, on some things or some people, situations in your life that you feel grateful for. Turning your mind towards gratitude. And with each thing or person that comes up, you could silently or quietly say, thank you. All of the people who bring joy, happiness, connection to our life. All the gifts of the natural world. That we didn't have to do anything to earn or deserve. They just come with this human life. The Christian mystic Meister Eckhart said, if the only prayer you said in your life was thank you, that would suffice. The gift of the teachings, these teachings, Dharma, the other teachings of wisdom and compassion that support us. And if you find yourself caught up in some difficult state of mind, you can just come back to reflecting on what you're grateful for. Perhaps the gift of being together in community, supporting each other. Now just opening to whatever is present in the body and in the heart, in the mind. Just meeting whatever is here with kindness and with acceptance. with this practice of mindfulness, we're not trying to create any particular state or feelings, but rather just meeting whatever is here with a receptive, kind awareness. The Sufi poet Jalaluddin Rumi, speaks of welcoming the guests. He says, even if there are a crowd of sorrows who sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. He goes on, the dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. So the invitation is to meet whatever is arising for you, for each of us. As like welcoming a guest, like bringing a kind, receptive attitude to our experience, letting it be here and stay as long as it wants to stay and leave when it's ready to leave. So we don't have to get in a fight with our experience. We don't need to push away what feels difficult or grasp onto what feels more pleasant or enjoyable, likable. If it's helpful, you might just let your attention rest on your breathing. This is a way of steadying the attention. It may be helpful. It's being aware of breathing in and breathing out. And just letting the breath be as it is, but just aware. In breath and out breath. And when you see that mind, the attention has gone into the future or the past or daydreams, memories, plans, worries, you can just gently and kindly come back to the body and the breath. Here, now, this moment, this breath. The poet David Whyte has a poem, short poem, Enough. He says, these few words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, this sitting here, this opening to the life we have refused again and again until now, until now. Can this moment be a moment of peace, moment of ease, a moment of freedom? Poet Dorothy Hunt says, peace is this moment without judgment, this moment in the heart space where everything that is welcome. Peace is this moment without judgment, this moment in the heart space where everything that is welcome. We'll finish with this poem, Blessing for Peace, by the late Irish poet and writer and teacher John O'Donoghue. Blessing for Peace. As the fever of day calms towards twilight, may all that is strained in us come to ease. We pray for all who suffered violence today. May an unexpected serenity surprise them. For those who risk their lives each day for peace, may their hearts glimpse providence at the heart of history. That those who make riches from violence and war might hear in their dreams the cries of the lost. That we might see through our fear of each other a new vision to heal our fatal attraction to aggression. That those who enjoy the privilege of peace might not forget their tormented brothers and sisters. That the wolf might lie down with the lamb. That our swords be beaten into plowshares, and no hurt or harm be done anywhere along the holy mountain. Take your time opening your eyes, coming back into the group. Again, welcome everyone, anyone who joined us. So as I mentioned, the theme of the talk today is on gratitude, and don't know, some of you may have a regular gratitude practice, but I wanted to particularly, in the times that we're living in right now, which are, very, very difficult for, I think for most of us here, they kind of sound feel. It's one. It's not just every day that something pretty awful happens, but many times a day it feels like, you read the newspaper, you listen to the news, and it's like, oh no, what now? What now? At least that's my feeling. I don't want to say everyone feels that way, but I certainly do. And so I wanted to today to focus on the qualities of gratitude and joy. I think the emphasis will be mainly gratitude today, just for the amount of time we have. But I found it in my own life and in my own practice, one of the most powerful ways of dealing with difficult mind states and difficult life situations and situations in the world, just to remember all that we have, all that we have. It's such a different way of being in the world and experiencing the world than when we're in that state of things should be different, they shouldn't be doing this, or this shouldn't be happening, or I wish something else were, I wish this were the case rather than that. And we can be caught up a lot of the time in a struggle with the way things are. And I definitely believe that it's important to change what we can change, but even that needs to come from a place of, not a place of tightness or a place of fear, but a place of really of openness. And this practice of gratitude is one that really helps us appreciate all that we have, all that we've been given. And it helps us really live in the world in a different way, be in the world, experience the world in a different way, to live more freely with greater ease and well-being, because we're not caught up, at least, we may episodically at times get caught up, but if we can come back to gratitude as really a ground of the way we live in the world, not living so much in a place of fear or holding on, but really resting back into all that we've been given. And I just want to share just some general thoughts about reflections on gratitude. I'll share some about the science and the benefits if anyone needs convincing that gratitude is a helpful, beneficial practice in our lives. And then I think we'll finish with a gratitude meditation. So what is gratitude? What do we mean by gratitude? One of the leading researchers on gratitude, who's worked for decades and studied and done research on gratitude, Robert Emmons, he says gratitude is a felt sense of wonder, thankfulness, and appreciation for life. A felt sense of wonder, thankfulness, and appreciation for life. Gratitude is strongly associated with happiness, with joy, if you like. And the grateful people tend to be happier people. The more we incorporate gratitude into our life, the more benefits we experience. I think of gratitude as really taking refuge in the truth, which is taking refuge in the Dharma, in Buddhist, Buddhist teachings. It's really acknowledging what life has given us, the reality of life, that we have, no matter how challenging our life might be, we've all been given, great gifts just by being human, not for anything that we've done necessarily, just to, the air we breathe, the food we eat, the people in our lives, all the things that we easily take for granted. All of this is given to us, and when we acknowledge that and really take it in, what we're doing is we're taking refuge really in the truth. It's said, gratitude is like the heart practices, the Buddhist heart practices of loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, that what are called the four Brahma Viharas, the four beautiful states of mind, sometimes translated as the divine abodes, because they're beautiful qualities to abide in. And like these qualities, gratitude is really understood to be infinite and, as boundless and immeasurable. There's no limit to what we can be grateful for. This is a wonderful thing about gratitude, as well as loving kindness and compassion, that it's not like, we can be grateful for, I'm grateful for the people and the situations and teachings and all of this, and then we reach our limit. There's no, we can't go further than that. We can keep being grateful. It's like a heart can keep opening in gratitude, and it really is a beautiful, beautiful state of mind. It's necessarily, it's not afflictive, it's not a painful state of mind. It's an appreciation. It's an appreciation of all that we've been given. The thing that's really important to say about gratitude is, and it's the same with loving kindness and compassion and the other states, other heart practices, is that it's a practice, it's a training that we can cultivate. We're not just given a kind of a set, place we have in our lives. Oh, this person's a grateful person and this person's an ungrateful person. If we are, if we are a more grateful person, it tends to be because, and it can happen naturally. Some people are naturally, just kind of like, wow, I'm grateful for this. But to a large extent, it depends on cultivation. It depends on training. The Buddha said, whatever you frequently think about and ponder on becomes the inclination of your mind. So the more you think about and ponder on, reflect on gratitude, the more grateful that you become. That by inclining the mind towards gratitude, you become a more grateful person. We become more grateful. We lessen our identification with the small separate self. And gratitude can be seen as a really foundational quality, that it helps give rise to loving kindness, compassion, and I'd say particularly joy. When we're grateful, if you just think of somebody, let's say think of somebody in your life that you really appreciate, you really feel grateful for. Very easily I think of my mother, who died 8 years ago, and how she brought up nine kids, and just really lived a beautiful and selfless life. It's very easy for me to feel that sense of gratitude, and really a feeling of joy. And I don't know for you, if you just think about somebody in your life that you could really feel excuse me, feel grateful for. And let that feeling, whatever feelings come up, let that spread through the body, the heart, the mind. Very easily, gratitude kind of transforms into joy, or leads, let's say, leads to joy and happiness. As I mentioned as well, gratitude is really an antidote to difficult or afflictive states of mind, and a way of stepping out of them. For example, if you feel angry or fearful or wanting or clinging to something, you know, think about that, or think about being angry about somebody who, did something, and you think about, oh, you're really angry with them. And if you just bring that state of mind to kind of into your memory, there tends to be a kind of a tightening up, a kind of a fight or flight kind of feeling. And then if you just shift back and just shift your awareness to something you're grateful for, somebody or something. When I do that, just in that, 30 seconds or so, there's a sense of things easing up, softening. And you can't be caught up in an afflictive state like fear or anger at the same time as you're feeling grateful. They kind of neutralize each other. If the afflictive states, if you identify with them, if you become identified with them, then you lose that connection with the gratitude or the kindness or compassion that's there. But the power of these qualities, the power of gratitude, is that they're always available. It's always available. There's always something, even if life is very difficult. There's always something or some things that you can come back to. At least I believe there is. That each of us has, probably a number of things in our life we can say, yeah, things are difficult, but I have a roof over my head, and I have the food I need to eat. I'm not starving, I've got some friends, I've got family, that even in the midst of difficulty, that we can come back and we can appreciate what we're grateful for. We can be grateful for the difficulties in our life because they can be the place that we wake up. We can, as they say in Zen teachings, we can make the obstacle the path. The thing that feels difficult is really just pointing at something that we need to wake up to. If we're getting angry with somebody about what they're doing, then there's something in us, if we're caught up in that anger, there's something in us that we need to look at, that, that some sense of separation we're holding on to, or judgment that we're clinging to, or blame that we're holding on to, that we may be able to let go of. So the difficulties become really a place for us to pay attention and to kind of let go of whatever we're holding on to. In Tibetan Buddhism, the monks and the nuns offer prayers of gratitude for the suffering they've been given. One prayer is, grant that I might have enough suffering to awaken in me the deepest possible compassion and wisdom. That's a nice, for most of us, that might think, wow, that's Give me enough suffering. Give me enough suffering so that I can really wake up, to compassion and wisdom. Um, there's a lovely poem of Mary Oliver's called The Uses of Sorrow. It goes, someone I loved once gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. Someone I loved once gave me a box full of darkness. It took me years to understand that this too was a gift. So really a very, very similar sentiment, feeling to the Tibetan prayer, realizing that the difficulties, the darkness was a place of learning and potentially of growth. Rilke, the poet, says, always trust in the difficult. Always trust in the difficult. The difficult is where we have the opportunity to wake up, to let go of what we're clinging to. So gratitude as going back to, I mentioned this, Robert Emmons, and his definition of gratitude. And he speaks of gratitude as involving two stages. First is the acknowledgement of the goodness in one's life. In a state of gratitude, we say yes to life. We affirm that all in all, life is good and has elements that make it worth living. And the second is acknowledging the goodness in one's life. And the second element is to recognize that the sources of this goodness lie outside of ourselves. He says one can be grateful to our creator or other people, animals, and the world, but not to oneself. There's other things we can do in relation to ourselves, and we can be kind to ourselves and appreciate our good actions. But it's not, gratitude is more the kind of outward going. At this stage, we recognize the goodness in our life and those and who to thank for it. The Buddha spoke about gratitude, that we should be grateful for this human birth, to be born, in this human incarnation. That every human birth is precious and worthy of gratitude. In one of his, well-known analogies, he said that being born, receiving a human birth, is more rare than the chance that a blind turtle floating in the ocean would stick its head through a small hoop, that only comes along every 100 years. It's just, it's a rare opportunity. And then the Buddha would instruct the monks, nuns, to take their ground cloth into the forest and sit at the base of a tree and begin by gladdening the heart, which we did a little bit in the initial meditation, by reflecting on the fortunate circumstances that has given them the motivation and ability to seek freedom through understanding the Dharma. So reflecting on the gratitude for our human birth, and even more so gratitude to have access to teachings that give us the opportunity to wake up to the deepest freedom. So I want to share a little bit about the some of the benefits of cultivating gratitude, practicing gratitude. Um, there've been, excuse me, there've been many studies over recent, particularly in the last couple of decades on gratitude. And it's been found gratitude has been more associated with happiness and well-being than any other, positive psychological or emotional quality. Gratitude is kind of more seen to have found to be have more benefits. Just share a few of these benefits of gratitude. It helps people deal with stress and trauma and helps people move on and begin anew. It encourages moral behavior. It helps build bonds and strengthens relationships. It leads to more energy, more alertness and vigor, more success in achieving one's personal goals. Gives a stronger sense of self-worth and self-confidence, promotes generosity and helpfulness, leads to better heart health and greater sense of purpose and resilience. And it made people who were depressed less depressed and happier than any other positive psychology intervention. So people who practice gratitude can cope more effectively with everyday stress and recover more quickly from illness and enjoy more robust physical health. They did studies of people who kept a gratitude journal, who wrote out things that they're grateful for. And they found that comparing the people who kept a journal with those who didn't keep a journal, they found that people who kept the journal were 25% happier. They slept half an hour more each night and exercised 33% more each week compared to those who didn't keep a journal. So if you want to exercise, sleep better, and be happier, practice gratitude, cultivate gratitude. And the great thing about gratitude is that it's always available to us. It simply requires us to remember. And like mindfulness, it's about remembering. It's so easy to get caught up. I mean, probably every one of us here, spends a good deal of time kind of worrying, dealing with things, and not really appreciating what we have. So like practicing mindfulness, like practicing meditation, it really serves us to have a way of remembering. What helps us to remember? What helps us? We can't gain the benefits of gratitude in terms of, inner well-being and happiness and the other things that I've talked about, if those are relevant or seem to be helpful. We can't gain the benefits of gratitude unless we remember. So like having a meditation practice, it really serves us to have a gratitude practice, to have some way to keep coming back, because essentially what we're doing is we're coming back to well-being. We're coming back to a state of mind and heart that enhances our life, that helps us let go of painful and afflictive states, that helps us live with greater ease and well-being. So but we have to remember to keep coming back. It could be something as simple as, when you wake up in the morning, just reflect on 3 things you feel grateful for. Maybe when you go to bed, think of 3 things that you're grateful for during the day, in that day. Some ways to make it easy for ourselves to access to access gratitude. Just one last study. Marty Seligman, who's one of the leading psychologists in the positive psychology movement, asked people who considered themselves severely depressed to write down 3 good things that happened to them for 15 days. So three good things for 15 days. And they found that the people in the study had 94% had a decrease in depression, and 92% said that their happiness had increased. So, and that's a powerful change among people who were, whose lives were very challenging, who considered themselves severely depressed. So you might think about, if gratitude isn't part of your practice, and we can also incorporate it into our meditation practice, that can be very helpful, because if you have a regular meditation practice, there's an opportunity to kind of add in gratitude if you don't already. But just to think about, some simple things you could do to connect with gratitude in your things that you're grateful for in your life. And I think what we'll do is we'll take a few minutes now to do a gratitude do a gratitude practice, and I invite you to just reflect on maybe some things in your life that you feel grateful for, that you can connect with, and then just invite you to see what, anything that comes up for you, any areas of your life. So just again, come into a comfortable posture, just relaxed, sitting with your back straight and shoulders relaxed. Maybe taking a few longer, deeper breaths. Breathing in, calming the body. Breathing out, calming the mind. You might just reflect on, the practice of meditation, practice of mindfulness in your life, or your spiritual or religious practice more broadly, and how this affects your life, maybe benefits your life. And you could just take in just any feelings of gratitude that come up. Gratitude for the teachings, gratitude for the community Sangha, the community, fellow practitioners. Just allow yourself to feel whatever comes up. Maybe there's some feeling of warmth in the chest or the heart or the face. And just bring to mind now people in your life that you feel grateful for. You know, loved ones, partner, spouse, family members, dear friends, colleagues. Just as you bring people into your mind, you might just say a silent thank you. Thank you. How you enhance my life. Thank you. Maybe other creatures, pets in your life. Just appreciating what they bring to your life. And just bringing to mind the natural world, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the sun, all of the planets and the stars, this earth that gives us so much, that nourishes us, that feeds us. And all the creatures flying, walking, crawling, swimming, all of the plants and the trees, the leaves, the flowers. Thank you. I bring to mind all of those who make our life easier, those who grow our food, transport it, those who work in stores, selling things we need to survive and thrive, all those who drive the buses and the trains and the airplanes, those who build and maintain our roads, or those who help provide the services we need in our communities. All those who provide us with the news and reporting of to keep us informed. All those in healthcare, the nurses and doctors and other staff, the teachers and social workers, just appreciating all the people and conditions that help enrich our lives. Thank you. All the musicians who provide the music and the songs that brighten our lives, poets, the writers, so much that we can be grateful for that often we take for granted. And all of the teachings of awakening and freedom, the teachings of the Buddha and all the teachers through the ages, and all of the wisdom traditions from that help provide meaning to our life, help us to free our hearts. All those who've helped us on the path. And all those companions on the path, the community, our spiritual community or communities. Thank you. I'll share a little bit from Jack Cornfield. He says, gratitude is a gracious acknowledgement of all that sustains us, a bow to our blessings, great and small, an appreciation of the moments of good fortune that sustain our life. We have so much to be grateful for. Gratitude is confidence in life itself. In it we feel how the same force that pushes grass through cracks in the sidewalk invigorates our own life. Gratitude gladdens the heart. It's not sentimental, not jealous, not judgmental. Gratitude doesn't envy or compare. Gratitude receives in wonder the myriad offerings of the rain and the earth, the care that supports every single life. As gratitude grows, it gives rise to joy. We experience the courage to rejoice in our own good fortune and the good fortune of others. So for the final few minutes of this meditation, just invite you to just let whatever comes to mind that you feel grateful for, just to take that in and reflect on it. Appreciate this person or this situation, or this condition. Take it into your heart. Thank you. This is from Jack Cornfield, the prayer of gratitude. With gratitude, I remember the people, animals, plants, insects, creatures of the sky and sea, air and water, fire and earth, all whose joyful exertion blesses my life every day. With gratitude, I remember the care and labor of 1,000 generations of elders and ancestors who came before me. I offer my gratitude for the safety and well-being I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the blessings of this earth I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the measure of health I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the family and friends I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the community I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the teachings and lessons I have been given. I offer my gratitude for the life I have been given. Maybe finishing up by just sending out gratitude to everyone, all of us here together today, appreciating the gift of community, of Sangha. And may we go through our day and our days appreciating, being grateful for all that we have been given, and practicing to keep remembering, to come back to this ground of being, this appreciation for our life, appreciation for our world and all the beings within it, all the sentient beings. all of life. Take your time, opening your eyes, coming back.